Hello. So I've been playing Fatekeeper for about 2 hours now, and I'm not done with it yet. There's more content after the 2 hours. I just haven't gotten to it. But I wanted to give a first impressions and how I'm feeling about the game. So first off, I want to say I think this is a well-crafted game so far. I did not experience any crashes. I didn't fall through terrain. I didn't get stuck on any terrain. I didn't see any enemies doing any of that. So it runs well, I would say. When I was first loading up the game and it was saying that it was loading shaders, it was almost maxing out my CPU and GPU, which I found a little bit concerning. It didn't last, but I thought it was strange that it was really hogging my system, just loading shaders, and I hadn't even gotten to the main menu yet. But other than that, it ran smoothly. I did have to turn VSync on because there was quite a bit of screen tearing. I don't think it shows up in the video at all, but it was pretty bad. And I mean the graphics themselves, all you got to do is just look at it. This game is absolutely gorgeous, and like I said, I didn't have any problems running it. There was no stuttering or anything like that. It looks amazing. The way the trees look and the rock faces and the mountains in the distance, and the lighting is really nice. The dark areas are very dark, and you want to have a torch when you're in there. I mean, it looks great. And just so you know what my hardware is, the CPU that I have is an i9 10900K, and the GPU I have is an RX 7900 XT. So not brand new, not super old either. The level design, I like the level design. It does allow you to poke around a little bit, but it is pretty linear, which I'm fine with. And I want to make that clear. This is not an open world game. If you look at this and go, oh, it's an open world RPG, it's like Oblivion, it's like Skyrim. No, it is not. It is linear. You can poke around a little bit. That's what it is. And I'm totally cool with that. The combat is slow, deliberate. There's a lot of weight behind all the animations. And you have a stamina bar that you have to manage. So you're not going to be going around swinging the sword, the axe, the club, whatever you've got, all over the place. You've got to block attacks. You've got to dodge out of the way. You've got to take advantage of opportunities to strike at the enemies. And this is not one of those games where one enemy does an attack animation against you and then all the other enemies stand around and wait for their turn. Enemies will come after you as you're attacking another one, as you're blocking, as you're dodging. So one of the things I got a little frustrated in one of the parts where you got locked into a room and you had a couple of waves of enemies come through, and the first wave was only like 4 enemies, and that wasn't too bad. But then the second wave, I think, had like 6 enemies or something. And when you have that many, and these are just regular like grunt cannon fodder enemies, but when you have that many with slow, deliberate combat and all of them will individually attack you, there's a lot to manage. And some of those enemies are ones that throw rocks at you, so you're having to look at the enemies that are right in front of you and manage them, and then you need to keep an eye on enemies in a distance who are throwing rocks at you or shooting arrows at you. That happens later with the arrows. And it can be a lot to manage. It can be a little bit frustrating, although there are environmental elements that you can utilize. Like in that room, there's a couple of areas that have spikes, and if you there's a dedicated kick button in this game, which I love. I love a dedicated kick button. But you can kick enemies into the spikes, they'll die instantly. There was a big pit in the middle. If you can manage to kick them in there, they'll just fall down to their death. But it can be a lot when there's a bunch of enemies coming at you. And later on, there was a beautiful area that I was able to utilize right along a cliffside. And several of the enemies, I just kicked them right off the ledge. You got to be smart about some of this stuff. You do have spells as well. There is, in addition to the fire spell, there is a telekinesis spell, which I used a couple of times, only a couple, to activate a lever that I couldn't physically get to so that it opens a gate. At one point, I actually tried to catch an arrow mid-air, thinking, oh, maybe I can grab it and shoot it back or something, or at least just avoid getting hit by it if I do the telekinesis spell as it's coming over. I couldn't get it to work. I don't think it works in the game at all. I don't think it's programmed to do that, which is okay. And the other spell is just a force push, which is my favorite spell, because if you have a lot of enemies that are in your face, using that force push, it'll easily knock 4 or 5 of the like little grunt enemies and blow them away, and it blows them a pretty good distance away. So that spell is great to give you breathing room. It allows you to push them away and then maybe run over and kill one of the enemies and narrow down how many you have to deal with overall. There is one problem that I noticed and one suggestion that I have. The problem was I got a bit of subtitle text stuck on my screen. I think maybe it happened because I skipped a cutscene, and it skipped the cutscene just fine, but then the last bit of text, subtitle text that was on the screen during the cutscene got stuck, and I couldn't get rid of it. I went back to the main menu and loaded the game again. It didn't get rid of it. I had to close the game down and load back in, and now it's gone. I don't know what's going on with that. It's certainly not game breaking, but it is some sort of glitch to look into. The other thing that I noticed was that when you level up and you get a skill point, you do get a little animation on the left side of the screen, I believe, saying that you've got a skill point, but then it goes away and you don't have that reminder there. Just like a small icon or something like that would be nice in the lower left hand side of the screen, just as a reminder, like, hey, you have a skill point, you can spend it. I went for a while forgetting that I had unlocked 2 skill points and I could have gotten upgrades, and I just kept playing because I just didn't realize that I had the skill points and I could unlock them. So some kind of indicator on the screen to remind people, yes, you have skill points to use, would be nice. Overall, I like the game, and I'm going to keep playing it until I get to the end of whatever the current amount of content is, because like I said, I played for about 2 hours, but I'm not done. I think this is a good start. There are a few things, not too many, but a few problems and ways that they could certainly improve things, but I'm interested to see how development goes, how much more they're going to add, and what other things they're going to have going on in this game, and I look forward to seeing it. So thank you for watching, and I will definitely give more updates as they update the game and add more content.